I'm 96 years old, and it was only about 10 years ago, sitting in a doctor's waiting room, that a piece of my life finally clicked into place. It's about something I saw and handled and heard every single night for years. Something as ordinary as a telephone. And I got it so completely, tragically wrong. It wasn't a story about machines. It was a story about a man, and I missed it. I missed him. From 1978 to 83, I was the night custodian at the Bell Atlantic Telephone Exchange on Carver Street. It wasn't a glamorous job, but it was solid, important. In its way, my world was a 4-story concrete block that thrummed like a sleeping heart. My routine was my pride. I'd clock in at 10 p.m., empty the wastebaskets in the administrative offices, just paper, coffee cups. Then I'd take my mop and bucket down to the main floor. The switching room, acres of panels, fronted with small, clear plastic windows. Behind each window, you'd see these relay switches, little silver arms, just chattering away, non-stop, connecting calls. It sounded like a million crickets, a digital forest. My job was to keep the floor spotless, free of dust that could gum up the works. I was protecting the network. That's how I saw it. And there was Martin. Martin Kale was the senior night maintenance engineer. His post was a glass-walled booth in the corner of the switching floor, full of monitoring scopes and dials. He was maybe in his late 60s then, a quiet man, precise. Our paths crossed at midnight like clockwork. He'd emerge from his booth, stretch his back, and walk to the staff kitchen. He'd make 2 mugs of hot chocolate, not from a packet. He'd heat the milk on the stove, stir in the powder and a little sugar. He'd bring one to me wherever I was mopping. He'd just give a small nod, place it on the edge of a clean console, and walk back to his booth. We didn't talk much. I thought that was the arrangement. Efficiency, he did his highly technical job. I did my essential custodial work. We were 2 gears in the same machine, lubricated by that silent mug of cocoa. I thought my duty was to the floor, to the machines, to not bother him. I was there to support the system, and he was part of that system. A reliable, quiet part. John, he said. My name, it sounded strange in his voice. You hear that? I stopped, listened. The endless chatter of the switches, the hum of the ventilation. Hear what, Martin? A click, a single. Out of sync click. Repeats every 4.7 seconds. It's on monitor bank B. I listened hard. I shook my head. Just the usual noise to me, Martin. He nodded slowly. It's not in the usual pattern. It's an anomaly. It's lonely. I remember thinking that was an odd word, lonely, for a machine sound, but I just shrugged. If you hear it, I'm sure it's there. You're the expert. He looked at me, and for a second, it seemed like he wanted to say something else. Instead, he just said, could you, when you mop near Bank B, just be extra gentle? The vibration from the bucket, it might mask it. I'm trying to isolate it. Now, here was the choice. The reasonable, responsible choice. My job was cleanliness, speed, efficiency. The floor needed to be mopped. A clean floor prevented dust failures. That was a quantifiable good. hunting a phantom click that only one old man could hear. That wasn't in my purview. That wasn't my department. So I said, "Sure, Martin, I'll be careful." And I was for about 2 nights. But the mop bucket had wheels, it rattled, and Bank B was a huge panel. To be utterly silent around it would have tripled my time. It seemed unreasonable. Any sensible person would agree. So I went back to my normal efficient routine. The bucket rattled, the mop sloshed. I was doing my duty. I'd see him sometimes, head cocked, a hand on his headphones, a faint line of frustration on his brow. He stopped mentioning the click to me. The immediate aftermath, nothing. The building didn't collapse. No alarms sounded. A week later, Martin resumed the hot chocolate ritual. I took it as a sign that all was well. The incident was forgotten. Time passed. Years. The hot chocolate kept coming. Then in early '83, Martin told me he was taking early retirement. His hearing wasn't what it used to be, he said. The company was offering a package. I remember saying, "Well, you've earned it, Martin." We shook hands, a dry, brief grip on his last night. He brought the 2 mugs over as usual, but he also had something tucked under his arm. A old tan rotary dial telephone. The cord had been cleanly cut, leaving a neat stub. He placed it on my cleaning cart next to the sponges. "A memento," he said, with a small, tight smile. "From the machine room. It was decommissioned. Thought you might. Anyway, good luck, John." And he left. I looked at the phone. It was just a shell, useless, a piece of junk. But it felt rude to throw it out right away. So I put it on a shelf in my equipment closet. It sat there, gathering dust, for years. I'd see it when I fetched supplies, a dead thing. The new engineer was younger, wore headphones connected to a Walkman. He never made hot chocolate. The rhythm of the night changed, became purely functional. I did my job well. The floors shone. I got a commendation for efficiency. The realization didn't come for decades. Long after I'd retired, long after that exchange building was turned into condos. It was about 10 years ago. I was in a clinic waiting room, and a young father was trying to calm his crying toddler. He wasn't using a toy or a phone. He was just listening. He held the child close and said softly, "I hear the lonely sound. Tell me about it." I hear the lonely sound. It was like a key turning in a lock I didn't know existed. Martin's words rushed back. "It's an anomaly. It's lonely." And I was there. I was right there every single night. My attention pointed in the wrong direction. I was focused on the clean floor, the efficient routine, the quantifiable task. He wasn't asking me to hunt a machine error. He was asking me to be quiet, to listen. He was sharing a puzzle, a piece of his world, a world of sounds and patterns and subtle, beautiful irregularities. He was offering a connection, a partnership in curiosity, and I handed him back a mop bucket's worth of noise because it was more efficient. That hot chocolate wasn't a ritual of convenience. It was an offering, and I accepted the drink, but I missed the offering completely. The phone, the stupid broken phone he gave me, it wasn't a piece of junk, it was a symbol, the instrument of connection, deliberately cut, handed to the man who couldn't hear the call. My God, And I look at the world now, your world, and I see my mop bucket everywhere. I see it in the phone in your hand, not as a connection, but as a taskmaster, a metric tracker. I see it in the not my department shrug, in the optimized routine that has no room for a 4.7-second anomalous click, in staying in your lane so diligently that you never look at the person in the lane next to you, just their function. How many Martins are around you? The quiet colleague whose question isn't about the project, but about a feeling they can't quite name. The neighbor whose complaint about the trash schedule is really a plea to be acknowledged. The family member sharing a minor annoyance that's actually the tip of a deep, lonely iceberg. You are surrounded by the subtle, repeating clicks of human need. And we are so busy, so efficient, so focused on our own switchboards, our notifications, our to-do lists, our clean digital floors, that we train ourselves not to hear them. We add our own noise. We rationalize it as responsibility. What is the lonely sound in your life right now? The one you're dismissing as not your department? Is it someone's habit that slightly annoys you? A piece of shared trivia you can't be bothered with? A request for help with something simple that feels like an inefficiency? My life's work was keeping dust off a floor for machines that are now in a museum. My life's regret is that I didn't take 5 silent minutes to listen for a lonely click with a man who just wanted a witness to his world. Where is your attention pointed? If this story made you pause, if you thought of a Martin, even for a second, that's the click. That's the thing you're already hearing. Maybe just look up from your screen once today. Really look at the person who brings you your coffee, or shares your elevator, or sits across the desk. The connection is offered in the quietest ways. If you want to tell me about it, you can leave a comment. It helps me, too. It tells me his lesson isn't completely lost. This channel is here if you want to hear the next small. It's about a bus driver, a regular passenger, who always got off 2 stops early, and a green umbrella left behind on a perfectly sunny day. It seemed insignificant until I learned why he walked. Thank you for listening. Truly,